boys and girls. Today we're going to read a story called This Moose Belongs to Me. And this was written by Oliver Jeffers. And it is for Mac and Adriana. Wilfred owned a moose. He hadn't always owned a moose. The moose came to him a while ago, and he just knew that it was meant to be his. He thought he would call him Marcel. He began following Marcel, explaining the rules of how to be a good pet. Much of the time, it seemed as though the moose wasn't listening, but Wilfred knew he was, mostly because he followed rule number 4 very well, not making too much noise while Wilfred played his record collection. Sometimes the moose wasn't a very good pet. He generally ignored rule number 7. Rule number 7, going whichever way Wilfred wants to go. The moose had a very good sense of direction, and Wilfred did not. And because the moose was particularly poor on rule number 7, maintaining a certain proximity to home, Wilfred quickly learned to bring some strings along on their outings so he could find his way back again. Sometimes the moose was an excellent pet. He had no trouble with Rule 11, providing shelter from the rain, or Rule 16, knocking down things that are out of Wilfred's reach. Looks like he has some tasty apples. One day, as Wilfred discussed their plans for the coming year on a particularly long walk, he made a terrible discovery. Someone else thought that she owned the moose. "Rodrigo, you're back! This moose belongs to me," he explained. Wilfred was dumbstruck. This moose was Marcel, not Rodrigo. The old lady was mistaken, and Wilfred thought it was only proper that he correct her. And to prove it, he called Marcel. "Heel!" But the moose did not respond. He seemed more interested in the old lady. Here she is feeding him an apple, and she's saying, "Good, Rodrigo." Embarrassed and enraged, Wilfred rushed off for home. Fine. But in his haste and miles from anywhere, he tripped over his string, and he got tangled up. And there he lay. Wilfred was beginning to get a little bit worried. It was getting late, and the monsters would be out soon. He had just ruled out the last of his options. Here he is thinking. A penguin? A bear? A machine? A hammer? Looks like a shark? Lightning? When along came the moose and performed Rule 73 brilliantly, rescuing your owner from perilous situations. All was forgiven, and perhaps Wilfred admitted, and he'd never really owned the moose anyway. With that in mind, he and the moose reached a compromise. The moose would agree to all of Wilfred's rules. Looks like he wants him to be his butler there. Whenever it suited him. "Dominic, you're back, and you brought me an apple." Looks like the moose had a lot of owners in The Moose Belongs to Me. Or perhaps the moose had no owners at all. Hope you enjoyed hearing this story. Have a great day.